Video Game Hunter here, and welcome to my review. Today, we're going to look at a game that I discovered when I was on hiatus for 7 months, that I found at my local retro toy shop, which is Dragonfire. This particular game caught my eye for 2 reasons. This game was made by iMagic, a really great third-party company that released great games like Enchantress and Comic Arc. The second reason is the name of the game, which is Dragonfire. I don't know why, but for some reason, when I see a retro game that has the word dragon in it, I'm thinking, yes! I'm gonna be a knight and travel the land and slay dragons! But sadly, that's not the case. However, I'm still gonna give this a chance. So, no further ado, this is Dragonfire on Atari 2600. Well, before I start talking about the gameplay, I guess I should talk about the story first. And since this is Atari, this game won't tell you unless you own the original manual. But in case you can't find one, I guess I'll tell you the story. The royal court was driven out of the castle by dragons, leaving behind their royal treasures. And without their treasures, they won't be able to train their knights to fight against these dragons. So the king sends his son, the royal prince, who knows every inch of the castle, to go back inside and retrieve their royal treasures, so they can train their knights. The objective of the game is quite simple. You start out on the bridge, where you have to run across and dodge fireballs, which get shot out from the other side, and dodge them, either by ducking by pressing down on the joystick, or jumping by pressing down on this button. However, the fireballs get shot out randomly, either top or bottom. They can go either slow or fast. If you think you can't make the jump or duck, you can always just run back to the tower where you came from and just hide there. You can call this your safe zone, where the fireballs can't hurt you. And speaking of hurting you, this game is actually very generous for giving you 7 lives. In most games I usually play, they usually start you out with 3 or 4 lives. Well, anyway, once you get across the bridge, you will enter the treasure room where the dragon guards the royal treasure, which you need to collect. Collect them quickly and dodge the dragon's fireballs before they hit you. If you need to, you can always hide back in the entrance where you came from and hide there. The dragon's fireballs can't hurt you when you're in there. Once you collect all the treasures, an exit will appear and it will take you to the next bridge. And it will also take you to the next treasure room, which is basically the same level, except the colors of the level is different, and the gameplay will move a little faster every time you complete a level. So yeah, it's kind of repetitive, but it's Atari, so I'm kind of expected this. But man, after beating some levels, the game will go so fast, it's like the prince and the dragon ate like 5 pounds of sugar and 4 cans of monsters. It gets that fast. You score points by collecting treasures and beating the levels. I don't really like how they did the point system in this game, because there are all kinds of different treasures in this game, and each treasure will give you a certain amount of points, which I find nothing wrong with that. It's just, every time you play this game, you won't find the same treasures from the previous game in each level. Instead, they will be swapped out with another treasure, either giving you more points or less points in each level. So, to beat your highest score is actually more of a gamble than skill. There's only one type of difficulty in this game, and that is normal. Which is strange, because most Atari games I've played, I'm usually able to change the difficulty of the game by flipping the difficulty switch on the back of my Atari system, either to novice or expert. However, flipping the difficulty switch in this game won't do a dang thing. So instead, the game substitutes this by allowing you to select what level you'd like to start out at by using your game select switch in front of your Atari system. Once you flip the switch, you'll see two numbers on the bottom of the screen. The number on the right is the number of players playing, 1 or 2. I don't really have anything to say about this, except you can plug in an extra controller to have 2 players. But you guys have to take turns trying to beat each other's high score. But like I said earlier, beating your high score is a gamble, and that applies to 2 players also. The number on the left is what level you want to select. 1 would take you to level 1, 2 would take you to level 3, 3 would take you to level 5, and 4 would take you to level 7. But in case you're wondering, there are 9 levels in this game, and after you beat the 9th level, you will just keep repeating the last level until you die. So this kinda makes up for the scoring system a little. The controls of the game are actually pretty good. I can move around just fine and jump just fine. The only 2 problems I found is that if you're going to play this game for a while, depending on what controller you're using and how you use that controller, you might feel some strain in your thumbs, or your hands might be hurting for a while after you finish playing this game. So, there you go. I'm giving some health warnings. The second problem is that even though I said I can move around just fine, it will become a small problem when you're trying to control your character in the later levels, since everything is moving so fast, and you might run into some fireballs accidentally, and accidentally passing up some treasures you meant to collect. The last thing I can say about this game is the graphics, and I have to say, they're pretty darn good. Especially the dragons. At least this time around, they don't look like ducks like they do in Adventure. I mean, come on, it's pretty hard to imagine those are supposed to be dragons. To wrap things up, I have to say, this game is okay. Not as good as the other iMagic games I mentioned earlier, Enchantress, Cosmic Arc, but the controls are good, the graphics are good, the gameplay is alright. It's just my biggest issue is the point system. It's just that I don't like the fact that there's going to be a different treasure that gives you a different amount of points each time I play this game. This may not be an issue for you, but it is for me. Well, that's it for today. This is Video Game Hunter, and until next time, goodbye.
The All Around Gamer Production.